Greetings, welcome back to part two of the Deliverance interview with Jimmy Brown. Enjoy, metalheads. So, Jimmy, we're going to talk about the next album then, Stay of Execution. I mean, like you said, this was a very dark album. Why did you want to go in a darker direction compared to the first three albums and more thrash? What made you change your approach to your music?
Well, I mean, one, my voice was changing, and then
Why did you want to change? Why did you want to change your vocals? What was the reason?
Oh, well, my voice actually changed. I wasn't able to hit the highs like I used to. And I went to like several vocal coaches, and all of them said the same thing: you smoke, but you don't seem to talk when you're inhaling or exhaling, so that shouldn't affect it very much. But the one vocal coach that I went to, Elizabeth Sabine, I went to her institute, and the coach that was working with me said flat out, I showed her records, and she's like, well, how old were you with that? And I'm like, I was like in my teens. And she's like, and how old are you now? And I'm like, I'm 22. And she's like, yeah. She goes, the male's voice doesn't stop changing till he hits around 25. So she goes, maybe you're settling into your vocal range now. And I'm like, well, that sucks, because this is my bread and butter for me right now. So what am I going to do? And I'd already been doing the whole Bowie thing with my solo project stuff. So when I took it to Terry, and Terry said, let's combine the two, it just kind of happened. So as far as like going darker territory with music, I've always liked melancholy. So, I mean, I don't think Deliverance's music was ever happy-go-lucky, but it certainly wasn't as dark as I'd wanted it to be.
So why did George leave the band? Because he only did what a joke, didn't he? What happened there?
He and I just started having a lot of disagreements, and just different aspects, different things, and I wanted to take the band in a different direction, in every which way. So we just felt it was best to part ways.
That's a shame. I mean, like the next album that came along, River Disturbance. I mean, that was a more Queensryche vocals, wasn't it? A little bit. You kind of went back a bit. You went back a bit, but the music was still dark. And
Stay, Learn, and River. That trilogy definitely kind of had a Queensryche vibe. Yeah.
The one album that I found really hard to get into was Camelot and Smithereens. I couldn't quite connect with that album for some reason. Do you understand why?
I'll tell you, for me, the reason I know I couldn't connect with it is because my vision of it didn't happen, and it was my first time producing.
Right.
And I don't think I did a good job at production. It was all new to me, and I didn't have Terry there. I didn't have George there. I didn't have Bill there. This is just me, and that's why I brought Bill to mix it. But I remember Bill and I just talking, and Bill was just like, well, let's make a go of it. He goes, because especially all the segues and everything that I wanted weren't there. And I don't know if you've heard, did you hear the Camelot 21?
No, I didn't know.
Oh, okay. So it's the whole album redone the way it was supposed to be redone.
Right, okay.
Be recorded, and that includes all the interludes. It's basically my Mind Crime or my The Wall. It's a full concept record the way it was supposed to be. And it's funny, I never called it that. I just called it a concept record, but a bunch of people have been telling me it's your Mind Crime, it's your wall. It's like, okay, fine. That's why I use that descriptive. But I'll send it to you. I'll send you a digital copy so you can listen to it. Just load it into a player, and you tell me what you think. I think you're going to enjoy it more than the first Camelot, because the first Camelot, for me, when I listen to it, it feels fragmented and strange. It's like things just don't coalesce with one another.
Yeah. I mean, after that, you went and did the Assimilation album, 2021.
Yeah, Assimilation.
Yeah.
That album was a mistake.
Why was it a mistake?
It shouldn't have been done. I wasn't ready to go back in the studio and start recording yet. I'd already recorded the first Fearful Symmetry record, which was one of my solo projects. But I just wasn't ready to do something like that. And at that time I was really into Rammstein. So I said, okay, let's try to do a kind of Deliverance meets Rammstein thing. And it just didn't work.
Weird. Did you try singing in German?
I later on I did on quite a few of my projects I did. In fact, Hear What I Say, I did one of the songs, the song Detox, I did it in German called Entgiftung. So and then on Jupiter 6, I did which what I like to call silly German. It was supposed to be silly German, but a version of the main of the main song Back from Mars. And I think we did another. And I did a cover of a Rammstein song for Hear What I Say, but it didn't get released on there. I released it to my Patreon. I'll send you a copy though. You got to hear it. It came out pretty cool. It's one of their songs called what's it called? Hoppa, hoppa, right. I don't know. I'll send it to you. It's a great song.
I don't really listen to Rammstein, to be honest. I don't quite get the connection. German lyrics with music. That music kind of didn't appeal to me.
But it works for them. It's all militant and strange sounding.
Yeah,
You know?
I know. You guys broke up in '95 and came back with that album, didn't you, in 2001? Is this when you
Yeah.
did your? Is this when you did your project? Your other project? What? Because I've not heard it.
Yeah.
What is it like? You just enlighten me.
Which project?
The project you did after Deliverance. You did that band you just mentioned.
Oh, so you're not familiar with Fearful Symmetry?
No.
Oh, that's all. It's industrial music.
What about the other band that you mentioned you did after Deliverance?
Jupiter 6.
Yeah,
Jupiter 6 is like a 70s glam rock band. It's like imagine Iggy and the Stooges meets the Ramones meets Ziggy Stardust. It's all of that. It's kind of a throwback and tribute to that.
Oh, interesting. I mean, like you came back and you went back to the thrash thing, didn't you? Like As Above, So Below, Hear What I Say in the last album, Seven at Can, they were all thrashy. Yeah. What made you want to go thrashy again? What brought that back to you?
What it was is because I decided to separate the two. I decided, you know what? Because let's face it, you know as well as I do, Jason, metal fans have a hard time with change. And when I started changing, I think it was an incredibly drastic change to go from What a Joke to Stay of Execution.
Yeah.
And I don't think people were ready for it. And what it was is I was wanting to go down that artistic band. And what I should have done at that point is truly went solo and had my solo side stuff and then keep Deliverance straight ahead metal. And so now that I'm doing all my solo side stuff and I'm having so much fun with my Patreon and all of that, and I did an album called Eraserhead. I don't know if you knew about that record.
No, tell me a little bit about that, please.
Yeah, Eraserhead is my first full-fledged solo album. And it's you listen to it and people say that it reminds them of Learn. It reminds them of River Disturbance era, but with more modern production. So I'm getting all my alternative-ish type of kind of that angsty, artistic, artsy fartsy type of stuff I'm letting out through my solo stuff. And I want to keep Deliverance thrashy, fun, heavy, melodic. And like with the new album I'm working on right now for Deliverance, it's I set out to make a kind of not a mellow record, but just more mainstream metal. And yeah, it's not happening. I'm just writing riffs that are just crazy. And it's fast and it's turning into a whole other beast. And but I do want to sing more melodic. I don't want to do all the growly vocals like I did on What a Joke and Subversive Kind of that.
Oh, interesting. I mean, like I say, as we all know, Glenn was in Hyrax. What do you think of Hyrax's music?
Hyrax is just, to me, good straight ahead old school metal. I am more of a fan of Heretic than Hyrax.
Yeah, so, Mike Howe's band.
Yeah, I loved it when Glenn was in that. I thought that was cool because we played with Heretic back in the day. So it's kind of cool, that I loved it that Glenn was in it. And Glenn's always been busy, man. He always keeps busy with different levels of bands. Now he's got Primal.
Yeah,
that's great, you know.
Yeah, send my regards to him when you speak to him.
Oh yeah, in fact, me and him talked on Saturday. We just had oh my God, we were on the phone for like 3 hours. We didn't realize we were talking that long, but it was good to catch up with him because ever since because Jim and Glenn are no longer in Deliverance. So
Okay. Talk about that in a minute.
Sure.
So, I mean, we met, as you know, 2019 Headbangers Open Air. The set was cut short because your problems with your bass player was in Tourniquet, I believe, back in the day.
Yeah, Victor Macias.
Yeah. So what happened then? You said he had it because the set was cut short because of medical conditions with Victor. What happened for the people that were at the festival that didn't know what happened?
Okay, so we took the stage. Everybody seemed okay. I mean, we were all, me, Jim, Glenn, were all hyped, and Victor seemed okay. I knew we had he and I had shared a pint before we went on, but everything seemed totally fine. So, and we hit the stage, we get up there, start playing, and you were there. You saw, in fact, I saw you backstage right when we were getting ready to go on. And we're on stage, and all of a sudden we're about 3 songs in, and I'm hearing Victor's playing, like it's like he's playing other songs, and I'm like, what in the world's going on? So I kind of turn around and look at him, and he was just standing there, and that's not like Victor. Victor moves. So I went over to him, and one eye was looking this way, one eye was looking that way, and I'm like, oh my God, what's wrong with him? So I yell in his ear, I go, are you okay? And he just went, nope. And I said, do you need to stop? And he said, yes. So that's when I went out and announced our last song. And Jim and Glenn had no idea. They were like, what are you doing? And then I pointed to the stage manager, said, please get this guy. He needs to go to so they took him to the medical tent. Apparently his blood pressure was sky high. They didn't know what was wrong. So he was rushed to the hospital. Jim said, I'll go with him to the hospital. You guys pack up all our merchandise. And so me and Glenn packed up all the merchandise, and we headed back to the hotel, and we're trying to find out what hospital he's in. We're trying to find out all this is going on. And it was just kind of a chaotic mess. And Glenn actually was kind of mad at me because he was like, we should just stay, and work the booth. And, I'm sure Jim will let us know what's going on. But I was kind of worried because it was like, everybody was there on my dime, as it were, and, under the Deliverance name. So I was just kind of freaked out a little. But turns out he was released from the hospital like around 2 a.m. and then we ended up flying to Norway after that, and then we flew home. So they told him he shouldn't fly, but he went ahead. He wanted to get home, and I got it. I understood what was going on. So
everything's okay with Victor now, and everything's working out.
I guess, yeah. I guess he's finally under a doctor's care, and that was some years ago. I didn't realize the HOA was 2019. So,
yeah,
it was right before the whole COVID thing. So, because we were supposed to return in 2020, but that didn't happen. So,
yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah.
So did you do any other shows in Germany, or was it just that one-off gig you did?
No, it was that, and we played in Scotland.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, because I was at Headbangers Open Air when you were doing that. It was like the day before, I think.
It was the day before, yeah, exactly. And then right now I guess we're going back to Germany in September. We're playing at a festival called Loud and Proud.
Don't know it. So what did you play Scotland? Why Scotland and not London? Was it a Christian festival gig, or what was it?
Oh no, it was just a bar gig out in Dundee, Scotland, man.
Which one was it? What was it called?
I can't remember the name of the
bar. Barrowmers or something.
It might be,
because I think was it like an underground cave kind of thing with a bar?
Yes, yeah, it was great.
Anvil played there. That's where they played there the first time. Yeah, it's a good little venue, wasn't it?
Oh, I loved it. Great crowd. I loved it, man. It was awesome.
Very old pub at the beginning.
They all called me a Nancy for ordering a gin and tonic instead of whiskey.
So you went to Norway afterwards. You didn't play any.
That was just a stopover. Yeah, it was just a stopover.
Didn't meet any of the black metal bands out there then and try converting them to Christianity.
Oh, I know that would have been fun, but we spent the whole time at the airport. Although Dave from Extol came to the airport to come see us and hang out. That was pretty cool. He's the drummer for Extol. That guy's an amazing drummer. I don't know if
Right.
you really much to them, but he's pretty awesome.
So after that, you flew back home, and the drummer Jimmy was in the Crucified. I've got their two of their albums. They're great, great hardcore band back in the day.
Oh yeah,
I've actually still got the T-shirt that their manager sent me, Tim Anderson.
oh, that's cool. That's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. I've still got the
Yeah.
T-shirt he sent me from United in
That's
Christ
so
on the
cool.
back.
Yeah, that's so cool. I'm glad that you kept that. Yeah, that's, man, if I had kept every shirt, it would have been great. But I used to wear a lot of Crucified shirts because I was a huge Crucified fan. And but yeah, me and Jim kept working. Um, Deliverance kind of took another hiatus. I was working on my solo stuff, and Jim was working with me on my Patreon and my YouTube channel. And then Manny came back to the fold. And then when we got offered to do another Deliverance show, which was last year, we took it and we went and played at a festival called the Immortal Fest. And yeah, it was great, man. I didn't realize the response. They were, in fact, the promoters were stoked too, because I guess there was only a couple hundred people there the year before, and then there was like 600 people this time. So I thought that was pretty cool. I don't know if it was due to Deliverance. There was another very big band called Disciple that played, so I'm sure they had a lot to do with it. But man, we just had such a great response, so we decided, yeah, let's do this again. So that's why we're recording a new record, and we're going to be playing. We're trying to land some gigs out in. I'd love to play London. I don't know. Is that where you're at?
No, I'm in the north. I'm in Hull, which is near Leeds.
Oh, Leeds.
Well, I'm
Awesome.
about an hour away from Leeds.
Oh, that's cool. And that, like, Leeds where the Who played?
I think so. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
That's awesome.
getting back to like the lineup. Like Jimmy's not in the band anymore.
Yeah.
Victor. So what's happening now? Because the last album was 2018. You said you're writing new material. What's it? What style is it going to be like? What's it called? Any title for the album or anything? Can you enlighten us all, or is it still under the Bible at the minute?
Yeah, I think I'm going with the title 12 because it will be Deliverance's 12th official record.
Right.
So not very original, and it's subject to change. But music wise, I set out to do just a straight ahead metal record, man. And but it's not turning out so. It's turning out to be pretty fast, pretty dark and lovely the way I like things. So
how would you describe your music
deliberate.
then? How would you describe your music? Is it speed metal, thrash metal, power metal, gothic speed metal? What are you going under now?
I don't know. I guess we'll just have to let people term it because I don't know what to term it. It's funny you said gothic speed metal. It's almost kind of that. Some of the riffing that I'm writing is very much in that vein. So I don't know. It's pretty cool. I'm digging it so far. I'm finished writing it. I'm working with George on a couple of songs. By the way, George Ochoa is back in Deliverance.
Okay.
So and it's George, myself, Manny, and our drummer Phil Borrero, or Philly B. He played in a band called Lust Control. So, and he was also in my solo band, Eraserhead. So we're doing something different. We're going in the studio at the end of April.
So why did the old guys leave? Why did Victor leave and Jim and Glenn? Because I thought you and Glenn might stay together for this album.
What happened is once we did this Immortal Fest, I think that Glenn is pretty busy with what he's doing with Primal and stuff right now. And I don't like stepping on anybody else's projects. And I think Jim's got some stuff planned. So when we got back, I said, I think where, as far as direction wise, I want to go. I mean, everybody should already know anyway. I use a bunch of different players. I mean, just go look at all the Deliverance records. There's always a change of players. And part of it is because I hear something in my head and I know, okay, this is the right drummer. This is the right guitar player. Doesn't mean, I'll never work with that person again. I mean, obviously, look at Glenn was here from 87 to 89, and then he came back in 2016, So You just never know. But as producer and songwriter, I have to pick and choose the right people for each category for what's going to happen. So look at Larry Farkas and I. I mean, Larry was my original guitar player, and then he was in Vengeance. Then he went to go do Die Happy.
Yeah, that was a good band. They were kind of around me at Badlands a bit.
Yeah, they were great. And then we had Circle of Silence that he was in, and now he's doing my solo project stuff with me called Novella. He and I have a project called Novella going on, and so I stay with the realm of all my old musicians. There's always going to be a time where this is the right person to work with.
You can trust them, basically.
Yes, exactly. Especially when our visions meet, and that's what I want every time I walk into the studio. I got to have a certain thing. And then let's face it, George and I have not worked together since 1991. So it was kind of like, let's see what happens. Let's see what kind of magic we could create again. So and that remains to be seen, I guess. He hasn't handed me very much material yet to listen to. But we'll see how it goes.
Is it going to be released this year? Or are you looking at next year?
No, it'll be this year. Yeah, it'll be this year.
And sure. Who's going to put it out? You got a label that's going to put it out?
Yeah, retroactive.
Right, same. Okay, that's cool. Same label as you was before they come out.
Yeah, Matt Hunt over at Boone's Overstock, he owns it. He and I have been working together for over 20 years. So to me, I know we're not going to get to the point where, I mean, let's face it, all the big labels are looking for kids. They're looking for young guys, and here, George, Manny, they own their own businesses. Hard for them to get away for touring 6 months. Me, I could do whatever. I'm a full-time musician, is what I do. So I left the casino industry 5 years ago. But yeah, we'll see how it goes, man. We'll see how it all rock and rolls.
There's one question I forgot to ask you. What guitars do you play for guitar players out there watching this? What guitar do you play?
Oh, gosh. What I've always played, Gibson.
Right, okay, yeah. Destroyer, I believe. Is it a Destroyer?
Yeah, the Explorer.
Explorer, yeah, right.
Yeah, this is, believe it or not, this is the Lizzie Hale model. I took her name off of there and just have it naked up here at front because I'm not a Hailstorm fan. But the guitar plays beautiful. And so I got that. I've got a slew of Gibson guitars. I'm also very fond of Heritage, which, if you know Heritage's story, basically when Gibson was in Michigan and then they decided to move to Nashville, a bunch of employees said, we don't want to move to Nashville, we're staying here in Michigan. So they started a company called Heritage. So I have a couple of Heritage guitars that I love. And of course, the standard Fender, and, I'm more of a traditionalist when it comes to the guitars. I like the old brands and the old
I remember rightly, you didn't really play Destroyer Headbangers up in there. Am I correct in saying that? What was you playing at Headbangers?
Oh, I played a Les Paul.
I thought you was. Yeah, I thought, why did you play that instead of what your normal guitar?
Because it was easy. It was easier to get on the plane. that thing's so big. The case is like this wide, where the Les Paul is like real tiny, and they let me put it in the captain's closet. So that's why I did it. Oh, I got a great. I just got a great guitar. Larry Farkas gave it to me. It was what he played in Deliverance in 1985. It was what he played in Vengeance in the 87. Die Happy in 1990, Circle of Silence, and it's that white Les Paul he's famous for holding in all the pictures, and he gave it to me and just handed it. It was 1981 Les Paul custom. It's real nice. It's real cool.
Brilliant. Well, Jimmy, I want to thank you for doing this interview. God bless you. Do you have anything to say to the people watching this on YouTube?
Oh, God bless you too, bro. I'm super. It's funny. I do got to say this because I was just watching your channel. And I happened to see an interview with I believe Matt.
Yeah, from Theocracy.
From Theocracy. And I was like, oh, we're playing with them this summer. Let me check out the interview. And I look at you and I'm like, I know that dude. So I reached out to you, and I wasn't expecting this. I'm super glad that we got to do this. And man, anytime you want to do another, just sit down and talk. I love talking, man. As you could tell, and I've got tons of stuff to talk about. So no, for everybody listening, thank you for listening. And if you don't know who I am, go to deliverance23.com. That'll tell you everything you need to know about Deliverance. And then you can go to jpbii.com, and that's all my solo material. So if you like to experiment and try different genres, go to that. Otherwise, deliverance23.com.
Yeah, check out these guys, folks. These are a great thrash band, but the early albums really kick ass. Right, like I say, keep in touch, Jimmy. Please share this interview on social media, wherever you can. I appreciate that.
Oh, I will.
I'm trying to get more subscribers, as you know. It's not easy. It takes a while to get.
I know, man. And I already shared it with my Patreon, because I've got my little crew there that they take care of me, and they're such good people, and I've already tuned them into it, told them to come and subscribe, and now even more, I'm gonna be on an episode, so hopefully they will tune in.
Oh, you'll do, but I'll send you the link when it's ready to go online. Yeah, do that, brother. God bless, Jimmy.
All right, bro.
Take care, man.
Keep it real.
Man. Bye, brother. All right. See ya.